All right, moving on. And as you guys can see, that David is no longer with us because he had to go somewhere. But before he went, he definitely left a message for you guys. And I quote, win, lose or die, support Manchester United. Right? Am I right? Am I right?
Always right, Perez, always right.
All right, let's not break the flow and quickly move on to the next discussion. All right, so the one thing that I hear a lot coming in from quite a few people, pundits, YouTubers, fans, whoever you want to call it, they don't really seem to feel that Ole has any tactics in particular. What do you guys think about that? Like, do you think Ole has no tactics, or what's the scene in that regards?
Do you want to go first?
Sam, you can go first if you want.
Cool, perfect. So one thing he does like is his counter-attack. We saw that last season. We were probably the best counter-attacking team in the whole Premier League. Like, literally, we'd be on the back foot, and the next thing you know, we've just gone and scored an absolute screamer. But I think he's quite naive in some of his decision-making, like in important games. So you look at like RB Leipzig last season, the game that, the time and whether we were going to be in the Champions League, continue to be in the Champions League or drop to the Europa League. We played a 5-back with 2 CDMs. We never play a 5-back. Tell me when we play a 5-back in the Premier League. You cannot list one time. So I think he has tactics and he has ideas, but I think he almost gets naive and tries things that at the wrong time, which then end up really backfiring for him. If you see where I'm coming from.
Emma?
Yeah. I mean, what Sam said, I do think when he first came into the job, he went on a 15-game unbeaten spell. Everyone was like, he's a second coming of Fergie and all. Then he went down and all because I think he got the contract and the pressure just went off. And as we know, he performs really well when he does have pressure on him. What I would add to that is, if you look at our football from 1920, I do think we have improved. Our counter-attacking, I think against the big six, we always play counter-attacking football, and it does work. I think against Man City, we've seen that a lot, multiple times, that we do catch them a lot on the break, and we do, get the results. What I would want to add is, we've gotten the results last year, but how many times did a Bruno penalty get us over the line? And, that's just a single point. But I think if he gets his favorites away, like Fred and McTominay, and actually gets a good pivot, I do think he can play a good brand of football. But now that's up to him if he's willing to make the decision, which he hasn't for a season now. That's it.
That's another thing I want to add on to. He has his favourites. Like, he likes I don't know if it's like a better relationship with the player, but he has his favourites, and even when they're not performing, he likes to, play them. And it just doesn't make any logical sense. Like, I bring up Fred all the time because I just don't understand why he still plays in our team. Like, it doesn't actually go into my brain. I don't know. And so I just think he needs to drop his favourites, as he said, and just use the more logical decisions and, see the players, what they can offer, and use that rather than just choosing your favourites,
One more thing. I just think he needs to be a bit more ruthless with the players in the dressing room. He just needs to tell, if Fred's misplaced 5 out of his 10 passes, which he usually does, let's be honest, he needs to tell him. He needs to give him the hairdryer. He needs to go full out Fergie and tell Donny, start warming up, you're on. But that's what he doesn't do, and that's the only thing that he hasn't yet progressed in. Tactically, I think he has, but then again, favorites and everything that I just mentioned.
No, I think both of you make a very, very logical points over here, and I don't think many people would deny that what you guys are mentioning right now. I feel that he has his own favorites, but then the contrary, the playing devil's advocate, in that situation, every manager has their favorite. At the end of the day, are they shit? Probably. some players are shit, but they all have their favorites. You remember Fellaini, right? You remember Fellaini, Van Gaal. You remember Fellaini, Mourinho.
Oh, of course, I fucking remember Fellaini, mate.
I was
infuriating. I completely agree with that. I think that he needs to get rid of this little over dependency on his favorites. At the end of the day, so both of you agree for a fact that he has his tactics. Yes, I'd like both of you agree with that.
Yeah, no, yeah, he definitely does. You know, he likes his double pivot, double CDMs, back four. You know, he likes his formation 4-2-3-1. Like, he has his tactics. Use Rashford on the left to go, or use the width. You know, whoever Greenwood on the right last season used the width a little bit. Also keep quite narrow at times. You know, he has his tactics. He can, yeah.
No, I think that's the whole point that I wanted to mention this at the end of the day. Which what I don't understand is that you can not like a manager's tactics. That's a completely different argument altogether. But saying things like he doesn't know what he's doing, he's clueless, people are just balling around and vibing and no one's really actually playing together, all of that is absolutely bullshit. According to me, you don't have to, you can make your own point. So one thing that I would like to add to this entire conversation right now is do you think if there was no Pep Guardiola, there was no Jurgen Klopp in this league, do you think we would be emphasizing on the tactical side of things in terms of how a game should look? Do you think we would be emphasizing on that much? I feel that at the end of the day, it comes down to what people are seeing right now in the rivals team. So if you see Pep Guardiola being Pep Guardiola and playing the way he does, you see Jurgen Klopp over there. So I feel that there is a sudden need and urge for our fans to want our team to play the way they see them playing, which is what creates that entire dynamic wherein the world has over thousands, I'm assuming 1,000 clubs in this world. Forget that, highest league possible, like the top-notch clubs. There must be around 15, 20, 30. Not everyone plays the Pep Guardiola way. Not everyone plays the Klopp way. So at the end of the day, I feel that we also need to look into that don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you have and try to make sense of it. Then you find problems with that. It's your opinion and I completely back that. Even I agree with whatever you guys have to say right now, that he has certain limitations. He makes naive decisions in certain games that make absolutely no sense. I completely back that. But at the end of the day, maybe this whole frenzy of one defeat, Ollie out, is because of this kind of situation wherein we are just thinking about the people that we don't have. Oh, Conte is available, Ollie out. Oh, Zidane is available, Ollie out. We have to get rid of him now. One game lost, we have to get rid of him now. So that's my only thing. And talking about last season, I think you guys mentioned that Bruno's penalties bailed us out. Ahmed, was that you who mentioned it? All right, awesome. So what I want to touch into the next part of things now is that, again, this is something that I keep hearing a lot, which irritates me, frankly, because I will tell you why. It's hypocritical and not from you guys. Telling you now, not from you guys. Have you heard this phrase coming in from people that we basically rely on individual brilliance and we don't really have any gameplay? What are your thoughts on that?
I've heard that quite a few times. And at times we did last season. There were moments of it, you know. Yeah, there were moments where we all played collectively as a strong team. But, you know, I think it was 2-1 against Fulham where Pogba scored that very nice whipped symbol from the edge of the box. It was a very lovely shot as well. But it's like, for example, that Pogba doesn't score that, we draw the game. Bruno Fernandes last season, constant goals, constant assists, you know. And you do look at this and you think, oh, well, if that person didn't score that goal in that significant moment and pull off, you know, that wonder goal, would we have come out with the result we wanted? So I do see the two sides of it, because sometimes we play that brilliant counter-attacking football, but also last season, you know, for the first half of the game, it was literally like, come on then, attack us, go one goal down, and then we'd, you know, finally get into the game. And a lot of the goals that would come out of the second half would be from Bruno Fernandes. You know, he was our star man last year. So I can see why people sometimes say, oh, we rely on individual brilliance to get us out of bad situations.
But tell me one thing, Sam. What do you class as individual brilliance? If hold on to your thought. If I have to put this point across to you, Ahmed, what would you class? Just general. I'm not getting into the technical side of things. Just generally, what is your idea of individual brilliance when it comes to a player? What would you class it as an individual brilliant goal?
Look, a Bruno penalty, and that I don't know if that's getting to the box and getting fouled. I think that it does show that we were attacking. But then again, you get my point, a Bruno penalty. And as Sam said, the Fulham goal, the Rashford goal against Wolves, I think, a deflected shot goes in and, it. But I don't think every time, and, I do think that he does have tactics, but I do have to admit, not all the time, but sometimes we do have to rely on individual brilliance, and it's not a bad thing. Every team does. Every team against Bayern '99, we relied on 2 lucky goals. We were shit the whole game. Let's be honest here. Fergie relied on individual brilliance. That Makeda goal. Does anyone remember that against Villa? That was individual brilliance, but yeah, you get my point. It's not a bad thing to do.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. Thank you so much for mentioning that point. That what's the point of having world-class, top-class players if they don't produce from time to time and do something which is absolutely wonderful to the point where it makes your team stand up? What's the point? And Sam, would you like to add anything to that? Because I want to really get into this right now after this, if you want to make a point.
Fair enough. What is the point with that of having world-class players if they're not gonna, pull out some individual brilliance? But there's only so many times Bruno Fernandes can, get 3 goals or 2 assists, or so many times Pogba can score a worldy goal. It's just like this. It can't be constantly the same type of things. And to answer your question, what you said to Mohammed, what's an individual goal? An individual goal is where a player literally creates and scores the goal himself. And if you go back now after our call and you look at some of our highlights from last season, you'll see that some of the goals just come from individual players. A lot of them do. So, I think last season just highlighted how we do have quality individual players, but we just, this is why we need to see results this season. That's why we want to rebuild last season. Now we're here. We need to have had that rebuild, and we need to just kind of gel more of a team as a team, rather than just relying on a Bruno Fernandes goal, Bruno Fernandes assist like we did kind of last season.
Emma?
I think people sometimes what they do is they mix individual brilliance with periods, with moments. Like, we can be shit for 90 minutes and then we can explode all over the pitch and we can score a goal. Brilliant team goal. I think sometimes people do mix that up with individual brilliance. We can be having a really bad game, but then suddenly you won the game. Yeah.
Okay, so you know what? This was the best conversation possible, because just in contention with what both of you had to say, last season we scored 121 goals, which was the most in the last 14 years. And this coming from a counter-attacking team is still good enough. I think it's commendable. The second thing that I want to hit on, the reason why I want to hit on the fact of this individual brilliance thing, is because none of these YouTubers, none of these people, pundits, are going to sit and go through these goals to make their point across. It will all be like, they just score individual brilliance. It's just Bruno Fernandes taking it and just scoring. No one is actually going to put in the effort. And if you put in the effort to go through the goals, it's very simple. It took me about 25 to 30 minutes to just go through this. And no exaggeration, if you want, I can tell you which video I saw. It's from the Manchester United's official YouTube channel. You can go in and you can check out all our goals from last season. I will tell you that we scored 75 out of 121 goals were considered either team goals or coming in from more than one individual brilliant moment. 75. 17 were penalties. 17 were penalties. And 29 out of 121 goals you could class as individual brilliance. That's 23.97%. That's like about third of our goals. And I will again reiterate my point. If you can't expect your top class, world class players to score wonderful, amazing goals, just a third of them, if you can't even expect that from them, then what's the point of having them? Now, my point of the matter, that what I'm trying to get at is, see, even I would have thought that the number would have been more, because of what I keep constantly hearing, what these pundits feed into our heads, what these YouTubers feed into our head. Oh, it's individual brilliance. Oh, this is what they do. They don't have any tactics. It's just Bruno Fernandes might put in the ball. Would we call Kevin De Bruyne the same? Would we say the same thing if Kevin De Bruyne puts in a wonderful fucking cross? We wouldn't say that. We wouldn't call it individual brilliance. We would say, oh no, but he was past the ball from here and there. But Bruno Fernandes was also past the ball. He just did not take the ball from De Gea and came right to the D-line and passed and did something wonderful. It happened a few times, 29 times it happened. But that's the point I'm trying to make, is that we don't do this when it comes to different teams. And why do we do it when it comes to our team? Why do we keep constantly undermining our team's performances? Ahmed, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I think it's because now individual brilliance, we don't see that the players actually practice that on the training ground. That's the point I wanted to make. But then also what you said, that why don't we see it with other teams? I think it's because the other teams are like, if you see look at other teams like Liverpool and City, they're like all over you, and they're like dominating the whole game. And United, you can have a brilliant team goal, but then for the rest of the 80 minutes, you can't be mediocre. That's my point. But yes, again, I do think that people do jump on the hate bandwagon whenever Oli draws or loses a match, and just say individual brilliance, that and all. But yeah, I do completely agree with you, Faraz.
Sam, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, no, I would. I think Praz. See, I don't disagree with numbers. Numbers, I think, is the biggest way you can argue a point. And what you just said to me, I admit, like, wow, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting you to say, like, what you just said to me. But I think it's because I've said this a couple of times to you today and, other times these talks, a lot of our games would be the first half you'd sit and be like, what am I watching? Like, this is just shite. Bleep that out if you want. And then the second half, it'd be like, okay, here we go. Like, this is Manchester United. And I think when you're watching that, you kind of don't realise that the whole team performance does improve in the second half. You kind of just focus on whoever gets the final touch or the final goal, because you're so, I know, you've just seen a first half where the whole team hasn't performed. You've kind of not disengaged, but you've kind of made the assumption already that the team hasn't performed today. But then when they turn up in the second half, you kind of look over the fact that the whole team's performing. At least that's what, for me personally, how I would feel watching a Manchester United game.
No, Rude, that's the best part of the situation. Like, both of you have mentioned some points that I completely agree with. And I think the most layman way to sum this thing up is that we aren't exactly easy on the eye most of the games, and specifically, which creates we are not there specifically, like you mentioned. Maybe first half of the game we are invisible. I agree with that. So it becomes very difficult, and maybe that's when the criticism is valid, is justified. But dude, that's the end of the game, right? Like, we all have our opinions, and sometimes your eyes can lie, and sometimes stats can lie, because I don't want to be a person who's just putting in stats and being like, no, I'm right. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to bring these stats across because I wanted to put the other side of it as well. And it's interesting. That's the whole point of this situation. So guys, going forward now from this point, keeping the loss of young boys aside, yes, go for it.
Sorry, no, I just wanted to say I need to put my phone on charge, so cut this bit out of the video. I just need to sort this out so my phone doesn't die. Yeah, because my phone's on literally 1%, and if I don't get this on charge, the call's going to drop.
So to sum up our conversation right now, I think we made some brilliant points. To be very honest, it was fun. I wasn't expecting the things that made me also think. Like whatever you guys have mentioned right now, it also made me think. And at the end of the day, right now from here onwards, this point onwards, what's the basic thing that you can expect or you want Ollie and his coaching staff to bring to this Manchester United team?
Mohammed, you go first.
Look, man, I just want them to create more chances. I don't think we do. We do that. We just, pass it to Luke Shaw. He tries a cross in, pass it to Rashford. He goes on a dribble. That's not a bad thing, but you get me, You have to create these patterns during the game. And I just want them, the ball to transition quickly during the match towards Bruno, towards the wingers. And yeah, just create more chances. That's what I think. Our defense, especially since we've gotten that new coach in, that defensive set piece coach in from Chelsea, we've been brilliant on set pieces. We haven't conceded zero. Varane and Maguire win every header, but I just think that we just need to create more chances. That's it.
For me, I just want to see a whole new attacking Manchester United. I don't want this, first half, we're getting into the game. I want to come out strong. You've got, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Sancho, Ronaldo. I'm telling you, attack them, right? We will score. This is not an issue. There is no issue in our finishing, in our passing. Just attack. None of this sitting back. I want us to show them how strong our attack is, and I want to play some exciting football this year, because ultimately that's the way we're going to win. That's the way we're going to win this year. If we're going to win stuff, it's because we're going to go in there, we're going to score 3, 4, 5 goals week in, week out, and I think we need to see that. As Mohammed said, we need more chances to be created, and if more chances can be created and we can, finally find our attacking form, I believe that will be the reason why we will win the league. And that's what I think we have to do. Go on.
In my opinion, I do think if we start creating better chance and if we start playing attacking football the way United is meant to play, I do think we have the best attack in the Prem. I don't care about Salah, Mane, Firmino, or City's attack.
They don't have anything else to back that up on their bench.
Ronaldo, Rashford, Sancho, Fernandes. What else do you want?
Bro, that's mad. That is mad. So and I'm telling you, if you just say to them, go, and this is why we may have needed to see them, if you just tell them, go attack, I'm telling you, we will bag so many goals this season. It's going to be stupid.
What's the point? People are going to just call out and say it was just individual brilliance. I'm telling you, dude, even if you win the league, people are going to be like, it was because of Ronaldo.
What I don't get is people actually just say, I swear to God, you have United fans just saying, although I do agree the individual brilliance aspect of all these game management to some extent, but what our own fans say that we got second just because of individual brilliance. Ollie had nothing to do with it.
Well, that's just bullshit. Again, bleating me again. But I'm sorry, that is, considering Chelsea got Tuchel. I know they didn't have the full season with him, but they had Tuchel, who has literally gone to win them the Champions League. Right?
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, there's no way that it was just individual brilliance. I'm sorry, that's stupid for people to say. And if you're saying that, you clearly don't watch ball. You don't watch football. You know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, the point of this conversation and point of this discussion was exactly to just make people understand that it's not just about one thing, that you should always look at both sides. That's all I'm saying. I'm not here sitting and saying, Ole in no matter what. No, he fucks up. Though if we go out of the league, Champions League now because we lost the first game, Ole out. I'm saying it. December he should be sacked if he doesn't go through. It's as simple as that. If he starts playing shit football, which in my eyes, according to people, he's already playing shit football. If he actually starts playing shit football and he does an Arsenal, he does a complete Arteta, he's not going to be here. So all I'm saying is you don't have to react. Sorry?
Can I just say one thing? to do an Arsenal with this squad, even I wouldn't do that, man. Even I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, innit?
Oh man, poor guys. I feel bad for them. Go for it. Go for it.
Continue, Paraz. Sorry, continue.
No, I was just saying that I have a few Arsenal friends and I really feel bad for them. I don't even make fun of them anymore. There's no point.
It's actually sad where they've gotten, and I do wish the rivalry has come back, and they do come back. Being a competitive team, because it is sad. Rivalry aside,
I know, man. Any last thoughts before we leave for the day?
Mohammed, you first.
Man, look, I do think the next month is going to be crucial, and we don't necessarily have really difficult games. I think the next 4 or 5 league games are all winnable. We should be winning all of them, and I guess in a month we will have a much clearer view what we are going to do this season. And I do think it's been the perfect start, except for the young boys game. In the aspects of the domestic league, I do think we've been brilliant. The table doesn't lie. And yeah, man, I just don't want to see another young boys game ever again. It's just depressing.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll see what happens in the next month. I mean, ideally, we should have actually won every Premier League game. I don't fully agree that we played well in each one, and I respect your opinion. The Southampton game wasn't great, the Wolves game wasn't great, but ultimately we will see in the next month as it unfolds what will happen with Ollie, how we perform, and what can we expect for the rest of the season. And ultimately, I think this is a big test for Ollie. I think Ollie needs to bounce back from it, and if he doesn't, I believe he'll get the sack. But ultimately, we'll just see what happens in the next month.
And let's just leave it to that. Thank you guys once again for watching. And if you guys want to get involved like these lot, all you have to do is just drop me a DM, not on my personal Instagram handle, but Universal Devils. That would be weird. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks so much, Faraz.